Hey man, today is our first in our Sm.U.T series, our small unit tactics for the militia. Remember, as an American man, you are a member of the militia, and you are expected to be able to defend your faith, family, freedoms, and to do that effectively, you have to understand the tactics of the infantry. And so the smallest unit in the infantry is the fire team. And today is going to be our introduction to the fire team. So we're going to use the Marine Corps system of a four-man team for a whole host of reasons that hopefully become clear over the course of this series, which will play out over months, if not years. But let's get right into it. So if you don't have effective command and control and coordinated action, then you just got a bunch of guys running around doing whatever the hell they want. Obviously, that's not going to work against a trained enemy. So we've got to have coordinated action. We have to have fire and maneuver, something you need to memorize if you're going to deal with this stuff, is that the purpose of these infantry units is to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver. That's very important, fire and maneuver. Or repel the enemy's assault by fire in close combat. Everything we talk about in this Sm.U.T series will be aimed at that end goal: to locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver, or repel the enemy's assault by fire in close combat. We're going to deal with the fire team. For most of us, a four-man team is probably the best we can ever hope for. The first member of your team, and you can say our fire team, is going to be represented by chess pieces. Adam is laughing. By the way, Adam at North Point Axe has gotten Mora knives and Elk Ridge knives to go along with his custom stuff. He is a close friend of the channel. Please go check out his website if you are in need of knives or custom blacksmithing work. He has a discount code of Revolt Now. I think it's 15%. And Revolt Now is the R and the N are capitalized. He's one of our own. We should support him if you need knives or axes. All right, fire team leader. All right, fire team, listen to me, jeez. Rifleman. He's the most junior member of the fire team. We're gonna go right here. This is an A gunner. This is representing our A gunner. He's the second most junior member of the fire team. His main job is to assist the gunner, but for our purposes, we're not going to talk about the gunner, because the gunner is he's the saw gunner or the light machine gun gunner, light machine gun operator. Since we don't have access to that equipment, we're going to refer to the gunner as our base of fire, our BOF. We are still going to call his assistant the A gunner. In the regular military, he would carry the spare barrel and extra ammunition. For our purposes, he has to be able to have extra ammunition and step up and take over the BOF's position should the need arise. So we're still going to call him the A gunner for ease of communication. Then we got our base of fire, and this is exactly what he is. He is the base of fire. The whole fire team is going to maneuver around this guy. And then we've got our very important team leader, and it's exactly what he sounds like. He's the team leader. In the regular infantry, he would also have the grenade launcher, but obviously we don't have access to that equipment either, and so we're going to probably gloss over a lot of that, although at one point I do have an idea to mitigate some of that. That's for a much later video, though. Okay, so in the classic how that would, locate, close with, and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver, how that would look, the goal, quick, down, and dirty. Here's our objective. And our fire team is in a formation right now, and we'll talk about those formations in a second. They're not important for this demonstration. So how this would work is our cameraman wouldn't be a moron. Oh, here's our objective. Our fire team comes in contact with our objective. Whole host of things that happens all at once, but we're going to just skim over all that. This is an introduction. Fire team leader is going to take positive control and he's going to start dictating the members of his team who are going to start moving forward one at a time. I'm pretty sure we called this bounding overwatch when I was in, but that might have been a vehicle, because we were mounted as tow gunners, so that may have been a vehicle term. The ground pounders might have a different term. If I remember it or someone tells me, we will use that term. For now, I'm just going to use the term bounding overwatch, and I think you'll see why. Usually what's going to be the rifleman is, obviously at contact, everyone took cover. The rifleman's going to break cover, move forward to another piece of cover, drop down, and re-engage the objective. And then the team leader is going to dictate who moves next. Usually it would be the A gunner. Boom. And then the fire team leader moves up, and then the base of fire moves up. And they keep doing that till they reach the objective and neutralize it. That's how this is supposed to look. That's how it's supposed to operate. And it sounds very, 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 very simple, but it is very complex to achieve. The stereotype of the military is that the infantry guys, the grunts, are just the guys who couldn't make it into the air wing. The truth of the matter is their job is highly technical, very, very skilled, very, very difficult, both mentally and physically. Could have done a better job with our... all right, so fire and maneuver. Now we're going to skip over fire. Fire is highly complex, and we're going to come back to it. But today we're just sort of introducing how this thing works on a macro level, and what we're going to be doing a lot of in our scenario as militiamen and even as preppers in a situation where we're having to provide security is patrolling. That's sort of the bread and butter of what's going on here. You're patrolling to secure an area. You're patrolling, the first part of that, locate, enclose with and destroy the enemy, is locate the enemy. You got to go find them. You got to go patrol. And to do that, we use formations, fire team formations. And they're pretty simple, sort of. So the first one is column, fire team column. And what fire team column is good for, and this is exactly what it looks like. I've got it set up right here. Rifleman's out in front, almost always. I think maybe he's to the right. But it doesn't matter, I don't think. Rifleman's out front. Usually the team leader's right behind him, offset, so he can take positive control of the situation. Then the A gunner, and then your base of fire is in the rear. But if something happens, he's your base of fire. He's in the rear. This column permits rapid controlled movement. Obviously, I'm reading this. Favors fire maneuver to the flanks. So you're moving in this direction, but your firepower is to the left or the right, to your flanks. And also, that's the easiest way to move. There's some reasons. So this is kind of a situation where you're not sure where the enemy's at, or you're not expecting to meet the enemy necessarily. This lets you move fast. This lets you have easy control. If you get ambushed from the side, it lets you, because that's what you'll get ambushed from the side. That's supposed to happen. It lets you now assault through the objective easier. This is fire team column. All right, next we got fire team wedge, and it's very similar. Rifleman up front, team leader right behind him, A gunner right across from him, and your base of fire in the rear. These two are interchangeable, doesn't matter. So this gives maximum firepower to the front. You've got everybody's situated. So, by the way, being this son of a bitch with this guy behind you is a little worrying. I actually did a live fire movement to contact range one time where we were doing fire team tactics, and I was the rifleman, and the gunner, I don't think he had a saw. I think we were all using M16s, but we were moving in a wedge. And so when we're on a range where there was a pop-up target, which was rare in the Marine Corps back then, you got to hit the ground for cover, and this guy's shooting over my head. And I'm supposed to be engaging targets while this guy's shooting over me. It was I won't say it was scary, but it was certainly, it made you think. All right, that's Fireteam Wedge. And then we got skirmishers right and skirmishers left. And what those do, what was Wedge good for? Used when the location and strength of the enemy are known during the assault, mopping up and crossing short open areas. Now we got, oh no, I'm sorry, that's skirmishers. Wedge permits good control, provides all-around security, and is very flexible. It gives you a moderate amount of firepower in every direction. So if you don't quite know where they're at, where they're going to hit you from, you might want to be in the wedge. And you can see it actually kind of looks a lot like the column. It's sort of the column squashed down. But everyone sort of moves up. And it gives you just a little bit more firepower to the front than the straight column does, while not giving up anything to the sides of the rear. Okay, next we got skirmishers, right and left. This gives us maximum firepower to the front. We got, as usual, we start with our riflemen. Unusually, we move the gunner or the base of fire up on line with the riflemen, and then our fire team leader and our A gunner. This is skirmishers right, and if you switch that up, it'd be skirmishers left. Maximum firepower to the front. This is, we're actually assaulting the enemy. Or, like I said, we're mopping up, or we're crossing a danger zone or something. Maximum firepower to the front, you would use left or right based off of just where you wanted your base of fire for the given situation. This is kind of the bread and butter. This is when you close with and destroy the enemy by fire and maneuver. This is where you'd be. And then there's echelon right and left. And echelon right and left is kind of skirmishers squashed diagonal to. You just kind of put it to an angle. And my understanding of this is that it's more useful when you're moving on the flank of your squad. So the squad is moving, your echelon left, you're to the outside of your squad, provide security to the flank. So you can move forward and you've got good fields of fire to the left in this case, or in this case to the right. And in these, the 8-gunner is always right behind the base of fire. All right, so we're going to go over this real quick. You got column. This is for moving. I did that wrong earlier. This is for movement where you might meet the enemy. Good control, good speed, useful for if you get ambushed, because you've got good firepower to the sides where the ambush is going to come from, and then it allows you good flexibility to those sides so you can assault through that. You got Fireteam Wedge. Kind of gives you all around flexibility, all around firepower. You're not quite sure what's coming, where it's coming from. This is the most flexible. It gives firepower in all directions, and you can get out into it into something a little easier. And skirmishers left. We know where the objective is. It's immediately in front of us. We're about to start doing our bounding overwatch to neutralize this objective. And then skirmishers right. And this is left or right is just based off of the situation in the moment. That's kind of a down and dirty introduction to the fire team and its basic mechanics and goals. Everything that goes onto that is incredibly complex. This whole book feeds into that. And this isn't all of it. We're going to deal next with fire. This was maneuver. We're going to deal with fire in the next installment. And then we'll start working on trainings and skills and enabling learning objectives and terminal learning objectives. Oh, I should start incorporating those. Today, your terminal learning objective was to be familiar with the fire team and its basic maneuvers. And your enabling learning objectives were to learn the mission of the fire team and the basic formations of the fire team. We'll talk about terminal and enabling learning objectives later too. This is a lot of fun, men. I appreciate you. This is important stuff. It's maybe not exciting stuff, but if we're serious about, like I said, defending our faith, family, freedoms, fulfilling that basic function of the American man to be in the militia, this is vitally important knowledge. I am sorry this video was a little longer. Thank you, man. We appreciate you.